Okay guys, so this is what we're going to make. We're going to be making a mini scrapbook, and this is one that I've already put together. This is a little Christmas scrapbook. I'm going to open up the ribbon that's holding it closed as a closure, and then see, there you go, and get these cute little mini pages inside where you can put photos, or you could do some journaling and write about what happened. This would be perfect for Christmas. And I went ahead and added some embellishments. I'm going to be giving this one away today, so you just might be the lucky winner. So we're going to be doing this. We're going to be putting that together. Okay. So the first thing that I like to do is I like to start off by making a plan for what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be starting off with a big 12 by 12 inch piece of paper, and I went ahead and I wrote down exactly where I'm going to score it. That means fold it. I'm going to score it with a special tool, make a mark, and then I'm going to be folding it. And then my blue lines here show me where I'm going to be cutting it. And then I'm going to be using some little pieces of paper to be inserts, as well as some pieces of paper for the outside. So let's get to it. I like to just plan everything out, but don't let that scare you, okay? So I'm going to start off with a big 12 by 12 inch of piece of paper. And I'm going to be using a scoreboard. Looks like this. There is one available from Stampin' Up! That's really nifty, and it has the inches labeled at the top, so I can see exactly where I'm scoring. So because this is a 12 by 12, I'm going to score every 3 inches. Every 3 inches. So I'm going to find my scoring tool and be right back. I can see that the camera's having a hard time figuring out what to do. So I'm going to be using this scoring tool right here, and every 3 inches I'm going to score on my paper. I'm just going to follow the lines. Now I have the camera kind of at an angle that's not good for left-handed people, so I'm going to turn it around and just score every 3 inches. So 3, 6, and then again at 9. Okay, so I used the scoring tool to do that, the scoreboard to do that. Now if you don't have a scoreboard, you can also use a paper cutter. So this is the paper cutter that I have right now. And so what I'm going to do is use the paper cutter to score. Now my paper cutter just comes with a blade. There it goes. I don't have a scoring tool on mine, so I'm going to use this along with my paper cutter. Now I'm going to turn the paper the other way. The score lines right now are going vertical. I'm going to turn them horizontal so I can make some more score lines. So I'm going to do it again every 3 inches. So I'm going to pull this out to 3 inches and make that tight, and then I'm going to use the scoring tool right here in the center. Now my paper is a little bit longer, so it doesn't go all the way to the end, so I'm going to have to lift up the door there and go to the end of the paper. And you can see this is not quite as handy as having a scoring tool, but it still gets the job done. Oh, that's what I could do. I can pull that up. And see, I don't want to move this down and then cut my paper, so I'm going to open up the door again and finish the score line up there. And do that again at 9 inches. Now, the scoring tool is pretty handy for lots of different things, so I like having one. It's not absolutely necessary that I have one to do all the fun stuff that I like to do, but it does make life easier. It makes it a little bit quicker, because this is kind of annoying after a while. And if I want to do really tiny scores, like ½ inch, see, that's a problem. little 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch, then I'm going to want to use a scoring tool, a scoring guide, not my cutting board here. But it did what it needed to do. Okay, so now I have these score lines going horizontally every 3 inches and vertically every 3 inches. So now what I'm going to do, it shows you right here, is I'm going to cut vertically, and then I'm only going to go up till I'm about 3 inches away from the top, 3 inches away from the bottom, and 3 inches away from the top. I'm just going to use a pair of scissors to do that. So now I'm done cutting on the score lines. I stopped at where this intersects, about 3 inches from the bottom on both sides, and then at the top 3 inches from where it intersects at the top. Now the cool thing about this, look, it looks like a W, like whatever. The cool thing about the scoreboard is that when you score a piece of paper, it makes it much more easy to fold it, and that's what we're going to do next. So let me get that ready. I'm gonna fold it, accordion fold it. Now I like to use my bone folder to make all my edges crisp. Again, not 100% necessary, but it helps. And I'm going to accordion fold it, so that means, or valley fold and then mountain fold. So every fold is the opposite direction the way you just folded it. Okay. And you're going to feel that. The paper's going to do that naturally. You're going to be like, oh, okay, so now I go under, then over, then under, then over, then under, then over. And just keep doing that until you get all the way to the end. Voila. Now, we're done with this part. We got it all cut out. And it makes this weird long strip when we do that. Now, we don't want it to just stay like that because it'll be all wonky. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some adhesive, and we are going to glue or tape these pages together so that they are not all wonky like this, because we don't want it to open up like that. We want it to be like pages in a book. So I'm going to use some glue. You can use tape runner as well, but tape runner is expensive and I don't like to waste it. So all you have to remember is that the very first page does not get glued and the very last page does not get glued. Everything else gets glued 2 pages together. Okay, so I'm going to now glue, and I'm going to remember not to glue the first page or the very last page. Everything else gets glued to the page next to it. Okay, so I'm going to leave this one alone, open it up, and I'm going to put some glue here. And then press it together. Okay, and now those 2 pages are glued together. And then the next 2 get glued. This one's an up and down page, so definitely want to glue that. Don't want my book opening up weirdly. And glue that together. Okay, so now I'm done. I have the basis, the base for my scrapbook all done, and you can see it's starting to look like a scrapbook. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to add some paper to all of the inside pages so that it isn't just this very vanilla color. So what I'm going to use is called Designer Series paper, and it comes in a stack and it comes with coordinating patterns. So this is just some leftovers that I have because I'm all about using my scraps, and it is colored front and back. And the cool thing about designer series paper is that it all coordinates with each other, with all the other pieces in the stack, and they all use the same color palette. So I can use any of them and they're all going to look pretty cool together. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make each of the interior pages just a teeny little bit smaller than this 3x3 inch size. So I have that right here. I'm going to make, I know it's hard to see, it says 2 by 3/4 inch by 2 3/4 inch. So I'm going to make all these squares, and there's going to be 16 of them, to go on these pages because there's 16 little mini pages inside now. So I want to make each one 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and then I'm just going to glue those down. Okay, so I'm going to do that really fast. You can just watch the whole process. Easy peasy. For right now, and I'm going to start gluing these smaller designer series papers inside of here, and I'm going to leave this one blank. I don't need to put anything on it because it's going to be covered up with a different size piece of paper. So I'm just going to glue, I don't like doing that, I'm going to glue these, and again you can use tape runner if you prefer, but I don't like that. Now, because it's a little bit smaller, it's going to leave a little bit of white, or, well, this is vanilla, very vanilla. It's going to leave a little bit of this vanilla color around it, and that's exactly what you want to happen. Okay, and then you just glue them all down until you get to the very last page. Okay, so now we have all of the pages inside completed. And they look super cute. So now we're going to be making the covers. So right here I have my plan for the covers. Ooh, I might even try zooming in. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to be making the covers using either paperboard or cardboard. And you could use like an old box. You could use like a cereal box. I happen to have, let's see, what do I have? Something that my husband got from work that he gave to my daughter. I don't know where he got it. It's like this really thick, almost like chipboard. You could also use chipboard, but chipboard can be expensive as well. So I'm all about using what you already have. So get an old cereal box, get an old shoe box, anything that you can, and then just use that as something hard and sturdy for your covers. And we're going to make this a little bit bigger than this. So this is 3 inches by 3 inches. We're going to make the covers 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my you could just use a ruler and you could draw it and then cut it out with scissors. I don't suggest using your cutting board. If you have one of these, don't use that unless you have an old one. I happen to have an old one that broke, and so I just use it for things that are okay for me to make the blade even duller. So I'm going to make this a little bit larger. I'm going to make it 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So now I have my two pieces that are the same size. They are just a tad bit bigger than that, and I want to decorate them with some designer series paper. So now I'm going to have these for the outside and these for the inside. So I'll just take both of them, cover them with some glue again. Okay, now I'm done with this part. I am ready to put it together and to glue these covers to the sides of my book. However, before I do that, I'm going to get a piece of ribbon that I want to use in my book. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back and I found some ribbon, and the cool thing about Stampin' Up! Is that everything coordinates. So this ribbon color actually coordinates with the colors in the Designer Series paper. So I cut up about 24 inches of ribbon. That sounds like a lot, but I want to make sure that I have plenty. So it's always better to cut off more than you think you're going to need. What I'm going to do before I put the ribbon on is I want to put some super sticky tape here. I'm going to use sticky strip. It's super sticky tape, and it is going to make sure that the covers stay on really, really well. So I'm going to put about 3 strips, top, middle, and bottom. And then the only tricky part to sticky strip is getting the pink cover stuff off. That's tricky. So I'm going to press it down, make sure it's really good and adhered, and then I'm going to try to take it off. So now I have the sticky strip all on my paper. A little extra piece there. It's really sticky. See, it's sticking in my finger. Get off. And I'm going to take my ribbon, I'm going to fold it in half so I know where the middle is, right about there. And I want the middle to be, well, right in the middle of my card. So I'm going to just take, take that off, and then put this right down the middle of that sticky strip. And then I'm going to take one of the inside parts of the card, and I want to make sure that it is lying flush on the edge of this page right here. Now there's quite a bit of width there. I'm going to pull that down, and I'm going to make sure it's flush with the edge. Okay, it's easier if I put it down for me to do that. And just lay it back like that to make it flush. And then there you go. Okay, you have one side done, like that. Now I want to make sure I leave a little bit of ribbon hanging out, because when I open up the book, and when I close the book, I want to make sure that there's plenty of ribbon there. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on that side, but I'm going to remember not to pull it really tight. I want to leave just a little bit of gap there. So now I have the sticky strip on here. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap, not a huge gap, but a little bit. Pull that across the middle, and then I'm ready to put the cover on. I want to make sure I had it the right direction. The cover on and make sure it's flush to the edge. And then there you go. We have a scrapbook.